Last night a mockingbird was calling, a song only sung by day, but the night was filled with that bird's offering anyway. Whenever it is, it's right on time, even though it might seem late to some. Out of season without a rhyme, that's when love comes. A purple October morning, the south yields to the north. The fall can come without warning as time calls forth. And even when tears outrun the rains, so that they blur out the sun, just when the wind's spinning the weather vane, that's when love comes. Almost 7 years after the storms have moved on, it was a darn long time without laughter. But how's a second hand to know the time? Only a heart knows when it's done, yanking and pulling on this terrible line. That's when love comes. That's when love comes. That's when love comes.
Thank you so much again. You are the light of the world, and don't forget it. Right now, we're going to sort of shift the energy a bit by showing you a video, and you'll see by what I mean by shift the energy. what I mean by a shift in energy? You know, we were talking, singing about love and such this wonderful, beautiful, gentle music, and I was saying, well, my talk title is turning the world upside down. And this video came to mind. I remember seeing it, I don't know, 5 years ago or something, and I thought it was a little bit maybe over the top with the music and everything, but I thought, oh, that music is perfect for this introduction to this talk. I mean, did you feel that energy? Did you feel the energy of the movement, of the music, how it moved you? You know, it sort of rolled you in and it stopped. And then it sort of rolled you back in and it stopped. And you know, what I felt like was that type of energy was sort of like turning the world upside down. You know, each and every one of us, I'm sure, understand this term, turning the world upside down. You know, you're going along, everything seems to be really nice, and then all of a sudden, wham, you hit up against the wall. Something happens. I mean, you get diagnosed with cancer. They just tell you that your job is no longer going to be available after the first of the year. Or something like that, yeah. I mean, you get these bits of information that often we have no control over these things that come to us. The only thing we do have control of is how we respond to what it is that happens. But I want to talk more about a different kind of turning the world upside down. Not one that sort of happens to us from out there, but one that happens from the inside out. I want to look at calling. You know that little voice that speaks to you and say, I want you to do this, I need you to do this, and you say, oh no, not me, I can't do that. But it doesn't matter if you say that or not, because that little voice keeps on saying, I want you to do this. It is this sense of calling. And you know, with that sense of calling, there is this also a desire to turn the world upside down ourselves, to really make a difference in this world. That sort of comes along with this idea of calling. You know, I'm here at Unity Village, where we train ministers to go out into the world. And many of the people here are themselves ministers. So they understand this concept of calling. In fact, the Pew Research Center did a survey of ministers new ministers as they were coming into ministry, and 75% of those ministers said that they felt a true calling to go into ministry. Now, I know all of you out there are not called to go into ministry. I know that. But we all are called to do something. We have a special calling. I was talking with Chris and Kelly over dinner last night, and they were talking about, especially Chris, he was talking about this calling of his to go into music. And it was always there, and he couldn't stop it. It was this calling to him. And you know, a person that dances, a truly fine, wonderful dancer, they are called into that. A truly great actor is called into that. And we, as ministers in training, are called into making a difference in the world. It's not without cost. Irving Stone, the great author, had a very interesting comment. He said, talent is cheap. dedication is expensive. It will cost you your life. And you see, when we have a calling to do whatever it is that we're called to do, when we have that calling, it does come with a price. It requires a response. And understand, it always calls for a response. It's either yes or no. And the choice of following that calling is your decision. It's nobody else's. It's your decision. Oprah Winfrey made a comment. She says, "There is no greater gift you can give or receive than to honor your calling. It's why you were born and how you become most truly alive." How you become most truly alive. And this is what makes whatever the cost worthwhile. Because when you are following your calling, you are truly alive. So I want to talk about this idea of calling and the whole idea of this feeling that we need to make a change or be the agents of change in the world by telling you a couple of stories. And then I'm going to give you 5 attributes that, as I look at people who have turned the world upside down, I'm going to tell you the 5 attributes that I see in each and every one of those. And I'm going to teach you those attributes. And we're going to do a simple affirmation for each one of them. And we're going to create an acronym so that it'll be easy for you to remember these 5 attributes of people who answer the call, of people who want to make a difference in the world, of people who are willing to go that extra mile. And you know, the thing is, every single hero that I've ever admired, every single one of them, they all turn the world upside down in their own way. I think of Martin Luther King. I think of Gandhi. I think of Mother Teresa. I think of Jesus. I think of the Apostle Paul, who I'm going to be talking about a little bit. I think of the Fillmores. All of these people, in their own way, turn the world upside down. My talk title comes from a story in the book of Acts, chapter 17. St. Paul, or the Apostle Paul, formerly known as Saul, was in his second missionary journey. He had just been to Philippi, and it didn't turn out real well. First of all, they hauled him off to jail, and then they beat him with rods, and then they chained him in jail. And so, it just wasn't a real good experience, okay? And so somehow they get out of that mess and they go 100 miles away to Philippi. And before long, wouldn't you know it, there were rebel rousers there saying, "These people are turning the world upside down." So they go to grab Paul and Silas, and who's with them, and they go to where they know he's at, and he was staying with this guy by the name of Jason. Well, poor Jason was just being a nice, friendly guy, letting them stay at his house, but Paul and Silas had already gone. So when the crowd mob gets there, they just, since they can't find Paul and Silas, they grab Jason and haul him off to the authorities. And that's what they claim. They say these people are turning the world upside down. You know, turning the world upside down, it does have its cost. It does. And we know that. For Paul, he was crucified. For Jesus, he was crucified. Gandhi, another one of my heroes, he was assassinated. Martin Luther King, he was assassinated. Turning the world upside down can have its cost. Paul, if it wasn't for Paul, I don't think any of us would be here as an institution. I believe we would not. Paul, because of his religious experience, and it was vivid, this experience for him, and he knew what his calling was, and he made 4 missionary journeys back then when there wasn't cars. Okay, about the only way was walking or by a mule or by ship. They estimated, I read this, they estimated that Paul in those 4 missionary journeys traveled 10,000 miles. That was mind-boggling to me. It was mind-boggling. But he did. He made 4 trips. And as he went, he was seeding churches. He was starting little house community churches. Every place he landed, he was starting these churches. And this is why I think that if it wasn't for Paul, Christianity as we know it would not exist. You see, the conservative church in Jerusalem, headed by James and Peter, in the year 70, they were destroyed. In the year 68, I believe, AD, the Romans got tired of all of the revolt and everything that the Jews were going on, and they sieged the city, they circled it, they starved it. And then in 70, they broke through the walls when everybody was dying of hunger, and they burned the temple. They destroyed everything. They gathered up the people that they did not slaughter, and they took them away and sold them into slavery. Jerusalem was destroyed, and along with it was the church in Jerusalem. The only churches left were the churches that Paul had seeded throughout the then known world. So that's why I say it was because of Paul that Christianity is what it is today. I truly believe that. You know, when I tell people I'm a special needs ministerial student, is what I tell people. And this is why. I started this journey in 2008. In 2008, I was accepted into the program, and I came here. And I started my ministerial studies. And then I had to, because my wife at that time had needed a back surgery, I ended up, after being here for 3 semesters, I ended up dropping out of the program to go and be with her as she recovered from this serious back surgery. And then not too long after that, she had another surgery. And I stayed for that. But during the time, I ended up taking a full year of hospital chaplaincy, and that was a wonderful experience for me. A wonderful experience for me. Something that I would not have done if I had not been there. And then my wife and I got a divorce. And as soon as I found out we were going to get the divorce, I knew I was coming back. I was coming back here to fulfill my calling. The next day after I found out that she was agreeable to divorce, I called Mark Fuss and told him that I wanted to come back. That I wanted to come back, so I came back. And so I've been here since 2013, so in a way it's been 8 years since I started this journey, and I've almost finished it. And it has been an absolutely marvelous, growing journey. I have experienced so much in this program with all of you, with my professors and teachers and my fellow and ministerial students. This has been a journey that has touched me deeply. It has opened my heart. It has made me grow. And I am grateful for each and every one of you. So now is that time to look at those 5 attributes that I was talking about, that if you are able to make these your attributes, I believe you will be able to turn the world upside down. You will be able to go out there and make your mark. No matter what it is that you are feeling called to do, if you can make these 5 attributes your own, then you will turn the world upside down. So the first one is grateful. Gratitude. I believe this from the bottom of my heart, that a grateful heart brings us everything we need. Fillmore was always saying that praise and gratitude attracts prosperity. That was one of his major concepts of prosperity, was that what you praise, what you give attention to, you attract it. You know, Oprah was also she read a lot and knew about Fillmore. She read a lot about Fillmore. So one of the things that she said, and this is a woman, understand you, Oprah Winfrey grew up in poverty in the rural Mississippi. That's where she was born. And she has become one of the world's wealthiest women. And by many accounts, she is one of the most influential women of this century, by many people's accounts. This is what she said: be thankful for what you have. You'll end up having more. If you concentrate on what you don't have, you will never, ever have enough. So will you affirm with me, I am grateful? I am grateful. And yes, I am. Our second is open. Affirm that with me. I am open. All of those people that I see that have been my heroes, they have had open hearts, open minds. There was no prejudice in them at all. There was this open, loving heart that they were willing to open up and share with everyone. Also, when I think of open, I think of being open to the movement of spirit, open to all that Spirit has for each and every one of us, it's there. It's always there. All we have to do is just recognize it. Be open to it. We are offered innumerable gifts every day, and we just fail to open up to them and to accept them. So, open. I am open. One more time. I am open. And the third one is focused. Each and every one of these were people that were my heroes. They were focused. They had a one single-minded focus on what it was for them to do. What theirs was to do, they were focused on that. And Jesus himself was very, very clear when he said, no one can serve two masters, for either he will hate the one and love the other, or he will be devoted to the one and despise the other. You cannot serve God and wealth. We have to be focused. Focused on what is ours to do. What is our calling? And it is giving of ourselves completely to that calling that we are able to make a difference. That we are able to turn the world upside down. And the next one is awake. This is one of my favorites, awake. You know, awake and aware. What does awake mean? It means not being asleep. It means going through life completely aware of what you're doing, completely aware of everything that's going on around you. It's being awake. And when we are awake and aware to the Spirit of God that we live and move and have our being in, when we are awake and aware to that, what we are become aware of is that when we are aware of the fact that we are one with Spirit, that we live and move and have our being in Spirit, also that means that Spirit is living and moving and having its being in and through and as us. And as that, we have access to every single bit of wisdom that we need. We have access to all the peace that we need. We have access for all the guidance that we need because we are awake and we are aware of that. And we are also, when we are awake and aware, we are awake and aware of what is going on in this earthly experience. We are awake and aware of what our relationships, how our relationships are, where they are weak, where we need to step up, where we need to change ourselves. We are aware of all of that too. So being awake is incredibly necessary and important for anyone who wants to make a change, who wants to turn the world upside down. So say it one more time. I am awake. Responsive. Like I said, every call requires a response. Life itself requires us to respond to it. We have to respond. This boils down to our unity fifth principle, which I don't care what you know about God. I don't care what you know about all the truth principles in the world. What you know doesn't cut it. It's acting on what you know that cuts it. Okay? That is what cuts it. Acting on what you know. It is putting all of this, all of these attributes into action. It is listening to what your call is, and it is following that call, and it is doing what you are being called to do. So, what this all adds up to is G, we are grateful. O, we are open. F, we are focused. A, we are awake. And R, we are responsive. And what that says is we go far. And what does the dictionary say that is? The Oxford Dictionary says to go far, we achieve a great deal. We could contribute greatly, and we are worth or amount to much. So, go far, people. Let's go far. Let's do what we are here to do. Thank you, and God bless you. Thank you. And now we are going to prepare for our meditation, and we're going to have some beautiful music by Chris and Kelly.
Still, I will listen. Be still. Be still, I will, and listen. Be still, I will, and listen. Be still, I will, and listen.
Let's go ahead and prepare for our meditation. So just make yourself comfortable in your seat. Let the chair support you. Take a deep breath. Be still. Be still. Open your heart. Open your mind to that Spirit that right now wants to live and move and have its being in you, through you, as you. Listen to your heart, for that is where that small voice will speak from within you. Be open, be receptive to that movement of Spirit as it moves in and through you, as it brings to mind what it is that it has for you to do, for you to do. What Spirit requires of each and every one of us is completely and totally unique to each and every one of us. Listen. What is it that Spirit has to say to you? So let's just take a little bit of time right now to enter into the silence. So with hearts full of gratitude, we bring our attention back to this space and this time, and we are grateful. Grateful for all that Spirit has shared with us tonight. Grateful for each other. Grateful for this institution. Grateful for the unity movement. Grateful for the Spirit of God that is with us always. And so we say, thank you, God, and so it is. Amen. At this time, I'm going to invite you to all stand up, and we're going to sing Claudelle's song that she wrote, My Dedication. The music will be up here. If you'd like to, grab a hold of the hand of the person next to you and sing this from the bottom of your heart. Thank you, Claudelle.
Here I am, Lord, use me, guide me, fill me, take me, lead me by your will. Here I am, to be you in this world. Will be done through me this day.